That's not a 40-inch tire. Neither is that. And nope, that still not a 40-inch tire. But today I'm going to show you a product that actually will hold a 40-inch tire. Do you remember our Death Valley trip? You know, I just had the last video of that published last week. I wanted to share a product with you that is a very, I think it's an awesome product. Jason Denny Taco Dust, his company Rig Supply has a tire carrier. I think he calls it the UltraSwing. This thing is, I was actually super impressed with the engineering, the architecture, the setup, just the design implementation, and really the performance. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Taco Dust. If you don't know him, you should follow him on Instagram. Oftentimes can't talk in the Instagram Taco Dust.
Newly YouTube Taco Dust too. I'm not as swell as you.
Do you like that?
So I'm out here testing our newest offering, the Mega Fit. And we didn't really design it around a 40-inch because I didn't have 40, so it was a selfish purchase here. But it actually, we've done some refinements to it, and this is our first time it's had a 40 on it, and we're gonna give it a go. So we're not trying to go after the 40-inch tire market. It's just I have the truck now, and
well, but if it works for the 40, it's going to work for 37, and 37s are super common.
So yeah, 35 and 37 is like where we cap it, or 37 is where we cap it on this guy. And we were doubtful, and then I got it on, and I have a wheel plate that I made for it that works. Yeah, I mean, it actually doesn't, there's not much difference for me, honestly, from a 37, a heavier 37 with gas on here. This is lighter than that setup, and I was running that on my previous truck. So I'm not anticipating any problems. It was really just like clearances and how it's gonna hold up. I mean, because dynamic load's a lot different from it just sitting here looking good. So we're bouncing it over some dunes and stuff, and we'll see how it does. It's not gonna fail or anything. We're looking to give a positive experience for it. Like I watched your walk around on your bumper at SEMA before you got this truck, I think. No, you already had the truck, but you were kind of leading into it. And their dual latch system is so solid, so good. And that's an experience that like you want to have, is something positive. You feel it go in, and that's why we use this latch here. It's 500-pound compression latch. It's very solid. You're not getting wobble out of it. So it's like one of those things where if it's not a good experience, we're not going to recommend it, and we'll just say we're working on something else and we'll figure it out. But so far, my experience is great, and I mean, I'm a little biased, but I'm very hypercritical of that thing. I'll probably like slip.
Holy.
But yeah, I mean there's
it's
a
not
40 on there.
Yeah, it's part of the vehicle.
It's not going anywhere. So I'm testing our new, we already make it as a production part, but it's a 2.5 system. It's a whole wedge and everything. So we have like a machined wedge in there. And so I'm testing that, and I'm so happy because like you saw, like the whole truck moves. You're not getting any wobble here. So it's like, you're getting flex. There's a 40-inch tire on this thing, so
yeah. I mean, how much does the tire weigh?
It's like 150.
It's 140.
Wow.
I weighed this one. It's 140. But me and you went out with my Super Duty, that old truck, and I had a 37 mud terrain with 4 gallons of gas on it, and it's fine. This is the same unit. All I've done was added one thing to it that.
Can you show me the opening and closing of it?
So I'll start from here. So we have the secondary safety pin.
Oops,
but I can't do it. So it's got to be like that. So I had the pin out because it's already open. So you would start here, you would undo your latch, you'd pull your secondary safety pin, and then all you do is swing it open. And then we've built in a bump stop, so it's never going to hit your tail out of your bedside. This section here, we have table mounts, a molly panel. We make rotopack mounts. You can do them anywhere you want. You can tube clamp, high lifts, whatever you want to do.
So that rests there.
Exactly. So
and then you can lock it into place if you want.
With this pin. So this is all included. It comes with this pin. You can lock to each position. And then that's also your safety pin here. We have a bumper system, so you can, as you add more weight or reduce weight, you can change the tension of that 500-pound compression latch. So that's like a suspension bumper. And then this is our gusseted latch catch. So this is my prototype. So if you see any inconsistencies in finishes, because I'm changing things constantly.
Right.
And then all we've done from the production is I've added this Delrin. It's basically a support plate, and so you can see it's chamfered up. So with the weight of that heavy tire, and if I added a fuel can on there, obviously with any sort of like long leverage point on any swing out, the shorter the better. But what this does for this case scenario and why we're doing it is as you go to close it, that ramp chamfers up, and you can see it aligns your latch. So if I didn't have that, this thing would just basically slam into this latch super hard, or it wouldn't line up, and so you're able to push it in and it slowly glides into it. So
what is that chamfered material made of?
It's a Delrin.
Okay.
So it's super,
it's like it's synthetic plasticky kind of, but it's much more.
Exactly. So it works really good as our glide washers. So we machine glide washers that are on our machined hub, that main single pivot. So we've had great success with using that. So for a heavy application like this, we just feel like when you have it all closed up, your top tube here and your bottom tube are working together to support that tire instead of just that pivot bolt working as an axle. So off-road situations, you're going to get the whole truck working as a system. But in the case that you hit something in between one of those frequencies, that support plate is basically letting that tire rest on that bottom tube as well, not just solely on the latch or just the pivot.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's first time we've ever put a 40 on it. We've always been like, yeah, we'll make one, we'll make a carrier that'll work with it, but for this one, it's like we already make it, and my job is really to like test these things and proof of concept and just see like how it does. So our patented design here is not the latch, is not the glide plate, any of that. Here's your 10,000 pound pull rating, recovery point, or toe, and then your secondary offset receiver. Say if you had a bike rack in here,
yeah,
or cargo basket, when you open this gate, that's all swinging with it.
Yeah.
No removing the bike rack to swing it out of the way.
Right. Yeah. So it says.
And we've offset it, so when you have a long bike rack and you open it to open your tailgate, your bike rack still isn't hitting your vehicles. If it was in line, one, you'd have to take it off. Two, it would immediately hit your taillight before you could open it enough to put your tailgate down. So there's just that's kind of our utility patent there. And then we've lengthened this 4 inches from our standard, so when you have a full-size tailgate, no interference with the tailgate. But if I had my camp table bolted to it, yeah, I have a full little galley. You know, like in your trailer, I think you had one of those too. So
right.
It's we tried to think of everything we could with this, and testing it with a 40 is what got me excited when I got this. Yeah, when I got this truck, I was like, now I have a reason to like really push what we can do with a hitch-mounted product. Yeah. And this is 2.5, so we make a whole new wedge and a 2.5 sleeve that goes in there, so there's no making multiple. Yeah, so because it's 3 inch, right? This one's 2.5. 2.5, okay. Yeah, so it'll work with 2.5 or the receiver 3. Is what I was, but yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, so yeah, it's a 2.5 receiver on our trucks. Okay. But some of the Super Duties are 3 inch. Right. So yeah, I'm testing a few different things here, and so far so good. Super awesome. Well, I hadn't had a chance to. I knew it was there. I knew it was available. I hadn't had a chance to see one in person. Yeah. And the engineering and the architecture of it all is really impressive. Yeah, we try to keep it. Yeah. We try to keep the hitch that's already on your vehicle. That's always going to be there unless you get an aftermarket bumper like you did. But that's the lowest point. This doesn't go down. Right. So you mentioned another company, and their design is, it's not, we've done everything different. So we've done it all of our own, and we tried to keep that hitch was always the lowest point. So there's no argument of, well, you're lowering your departure. No, you're not. You're the same, right? But you're able to remove it when you don't need it, carry your tire and your gear, and that's it. That was the core value that we wanted to add was. But I love the modularity of it too, because you can still add more stuff to this. So you can have your bike rack, or you can have a little table or something like that, and you can kind of have the utilitarianism of having a rear bumper without going that far. Yeah. Does that make sense? Exactly. Yeah, so I've done the dual swing, the single swing, the standard replacement, and it was all basically just to carry like some fuel, recovery items, and the tire. And we were like, this is great. Like, that's a great concept, but like $3,000 and some of the lead times, like,
Yeah.
some companies aren't as high in price and their lead times they're trying to keep up. But this was like all that money to carry a tire, and then you're stuck with it, or sometimes you have to modify the vehicle. This was the whole thing for us, was like, let's try to solve these problems with something that comes factor in every single vehicle.
Well, and if you don't want this for one reason or another,
Yeah,
for like you're doing a cross-country trip with the kids, you don't need it, or like whatever, you can just pull it off.
Or if your wife's driving your big truck around Salt Lake
for a couple of weeks, yeah, just pull it off.
That kind of thing. And so we made it even further modular, as you can buy it without the wheel plate, and we've built in roto-pack mounts directly into the front.
Yeah.
Or like for the van guys, they do those big aluminum boxes. You can bolt the box directly to that. So it's modular, as like if you bought a truck, 4Runner, we started with a 4Runner specific version. If you bought that off the lot, you don't have off-road tires and you don't have the necessity to do that, but you're like thinking like, maybe I will someday, but I do want to swing my bike rack out and get it away from the hatch. I want to access my hatch. You can buy it without the tire plate and be able to swing your bike rack and have extra fuel or a water port. If you're riding bikes a lot, anything that you can bolt to it, you can do that. Or a high lift jack once you get some rock sliders, or a way to lift it. But it's one of those things where we just kind of wanted to if you bought it, you could grow with the product in your vehicle and your needs. So if my needs changed and I bought a Sprinter van, I take this wheel plate off, put our standard wheel plate on, and throw it in our Sprinter. That's it.
I love this. I think this is a great setup. I think it's a really, really awesome, like, modular setup. Very obvious, clearly very well thought out. Where can they find it?
Rigsupply.com, super easy, RIGD supply.com, or just Google search rigged tire carrier. We'll populate, because we're paying for those freaking ad roll ads. So yeah, that's it. And thanks, Jason, I appreciate that.
I'll put a link down in the description below too.